Hey guys, and welcome to another Escape Wheel Watch review. Today we're going to be looking at the Phylida Aqua Terra. This pays an homage to the Homage Aqua Terra that was released, I believe, last year. They did a green dial. It's slightly different than this one, but this one is absolutely beautiful. So you can pick these up off of AliExpress for, I believe the retail price is $95, and I've already seen them as low as $90. So I think the value for that is pretty decent. It's not great, and I'll get into why. So let's get into this. The first thing I want to say is thank you to the seller, the Phylida store. I talked to them, and they were willing to give me a unit early. So I got this before they actually went on sale, and I believe I got the old case. So if you notice the difference between mine and some of the new reviews, this case is different. So this one's got a slightly recessed crown here. So you can see it kind of sticks out from the bezel a little bit on this side, and it gives the crown a place to sit into. So that's the only difference that I've seen on the actual case. So this one might measure maybe a ½ millimeter bigger than the new ones. Also, I did a review of this earlier, and I lost all the footage. So I've since brushed this bracelet myself. So it did have a polished center bit, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. So let's talk about the case dimensions. So this one, like I said, it might measure ½ millimeter or a millimeter larger than the new one, but I measured it as 41 millimeters. The lug to lug is 48 millimeters. It is got 20 millimeter lug width, and it's 13 millimeters, including this dome crystal. So the case finishing on this, it's a mixture of brushed and polished. You know, you have this this twisted lug style that is, you know, Omega has made this famous, and you know, they've done a pretty good job of getting that right. It's kind of this polished end to the lug here, and it kind of twists up and kind of comes around all in one sweeping motion. Really an interesting finish, and it kind of frames this dial, and it makes it look a little bit smaller than it really is. So yeah, they did a really good job in executing that. And you have so like I said, this bit is polished. You have a really nicely brushed mid case here on the sides, and then in this little area here next to the bracelet, it's also brushed, and it kind of slopes down to the bracelet, so you have more of a flat end link to this bracelet, and then you've got this polished bezel here. The crystal on it, like I said, it's slightly domed, ever so slightly. It's a double dome, so there's no real distortion to the dial or anything like that. There's no anti-reflective coating on this. They did actually a really good job on this crystal. I don't know what is different between this and some of the other crystals that I've seen, but it just looks more clear than some of the other ones that I have that don't have AR. So yeah, I'm not really missing the lack of anti-reflective coating. The dial on this, we're going to zoom right into this dial here. Alright, so the dial on this, like I said earlier, it's beautiful. It's kind of a dark forest green. It's got the really nice sunburst effect on it. You've got these horizontal teak lines that kind of come across it. It looks really, really nice. I gotta say, they did the dial on this thing really, really nicely. It's a matte dial, so it's not a glossy finish on the dial or anything. You have just the simple Phylida text at the top and automatic at the bottom, nice and minimal, just how I like it. You have a black date window, which is a big bonus in my opinion. It matches the dial nicely, doesn't stick out and look ugly or anything. Around the minute track here, you do have a kind of a concentric circle pattern, so it just kind of gives it a little bit of a, you know, different texture to the dial. Really looks nice. And then you have the 5, 10, 15 minute markers printed around the outside for, you know, quick, easy time reading. The handset on this is kind of got that cut off hour hand. which, you know, I wasn't sure about when I first got this thing, but I actually really like how it is. And then you've got this nice, like a broad arrow minute hand. Really nicely done. You know, the polishing on it is excellent. There's no like funny edges or anything like that. The second hand is very similar with that arrowhead on the end. Nicely done. All three of them are loomed. The loom on this it's not the best, but it's not horrible. So here's a loom shot. So there you go, guys. So that's the loom shot. You can see it's kind of a dark blue. It's definitely different than the kind of ice blue BGW9 of the San Martin there in the middle. And then obviously different from the green on the Tiger Concept on the right. I'd say the loom is mediocre, maybe slightly better than your typical Parnases and Paganis. It lasts pretty long, which I was kind of impressed with, but it's just not bright. So it can be a little bit difficult to read. But once your eyes adjust to it, it's fine. And you can definitely tell like it's just a weird setup. The second hand and the minute hand kind of look the same. So, you know, at first glance, you might get them confused, but other than that, it's decent loom, and it sure looks cool. I'll say that. So, and back to the dial here, the indexes on here, really nicely done. They've got a brushed top face to them, and then all the other edges are polished. So you kind of get a sparkle on the middle, you know, the inside of those indexes, and from the outside edges. And it's you know, they did a really good job. Everything's aligned nicely. I've got no complaints on this dial, guys. It's beautiful. It's absolutely stunning. Really nicely done. All right, so let's talk about this bracelet. So, like I said, I brushed this bracelet, and I'll get into one of the reasons why here in a second. I prefer an all-brush bracelet anyway. But, yeah, let's get into this real quick. So, like I said, the lug width, it's 20 millimeters, and then the bracelet tapers down to 18 millimeters at the butterfly clasp. It's got the screwed-in links, solid links, solid end links. Everything fits really, really nicely. There's no kind of, you know, it's a pretty fluid feeling bracelet. It's actually pretty comfortable too. I was impressed with the comfort of the bracelet. These end link fitment is really solid. There's no rattle to it. Yeah, really impressed with the actual fit on it, but the finish left a lot to be desired. So the brushing is done really well. So these outside links were brushed, but the inside links were polished, and the polishing just wasn't up to par with the case. The case is polished super nicely, so I don't know if they have a different you know, manufacturer doing the polishing on this thing or what's going on with it, but on this first link here in the middle, I almost had like a pit in the polished bits. It's hard, you can't see it anymore now that it's brushed. And then just general like waviness to the polishing, just not up to par with the case. So I was a bit disappointed with that. Get down to the butterfly clasp and more disappointment. It's actually pretty comfortable for my wrist. So no complaints with the comfort, but the buttons here are pretty stiff. You can kind of see they kind of move together here if you do this. So when you press them together, it's kind of stiff. I don't know what's going on with that. It has loosened up just a little bit, but it's just a little bit more stiff than I would like. And then you can see this over here. It's loose enough. It's a little bit stiff up at this joint here. Makes it somewhat difficult to get it latched. This joint here is fine. This one here is pretty stiff as well. So it's, you know, I've got the whole weight of the watch on it there, so it's not. But it shouldn't do that. You know, it should fall down, and it's not doing it. So this joint here is very stiff, and I actually saw that on someone else's review. It's just a stiff joint, and this one over here, it's fine. So when you're putting it together, you got to put together this side first. You see the kind of the buckle part of it here goes on second. It actually goes over this little edge here, and everything is just a little bit more stiff than I would like. Once it's there, it's fine, but you really got to press on that to get this to snap together. So overall, I'm just not really impressed with the bracelet. It just doesn't match the quality of the head of the watch. The head of the watch is it's great. So yeah, just keep that in mind. So let's talk about the movement here. This does have the Seiko NH35. Mine has been running spot on. I mean, it's been just a few days, and it's measured at +1 second. So very happy with the movement. It's got a screw-in crown. I think so. I talked about the case earlier, about how this is the old case, and I think the new case is a little bit smaller. So I think this crown was cut just a little bit too short, like maybe a ½ millimeter. So I don't think it's going to be a problem on the newer models. But like when I unscrewed it there, usually you get a nice satisfying pop out, and it just doesn't do it on this one. So yeah, it is out of the case right now. It does hand wind, it does hack. It's a typical Seiko action. No problem with it. You can see the date is a slow date changeover, which I don't like, and it starts changing over at like 10:30. So I don't know why they're doing that. I've seen a few of them that do that. So I would prefer it to start at midnight, but that's just me. So the action is pretty good. There's minimal wobble to the crown. Screwing it in, like I said, it might have to do with that case again, but it's a little bit difficult for me. So you can see it doesn't. There we go. So it pops in, and then if I try and screw it in, yeah, it's going to work pretty good for me this time, I think. So no, it doesn't want to. Again, so it's just kind of weird on this model. I don't know if it's the case or what. I'm hoping it's just the case, and anyone else won't have this. Check out some other reviews, and hopefully they'll confirm that. But so yeah, the screw down crown is just a little awkward on this one. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. Let's go outside and get you guys some wrist shots. Alright guys, and here it is on my 7 1/4 inch wrist. You can see it's pretty compact. That 48 millimeter lug to lug makes it pretty wearable. Definitely looks really good. And we got, it is in the shade, picking up the reflections of that tree. And we'll go out to the sun here. Hopefully we can get some nice sunburst. And there you go. You can see that green really pops. It looks great. It's got some nice curvature to the lugs. It sits really flat on the wrist. I'm happy with the way this thing wears. It looks great, and that onion crown doesn't really dig into my wrist or anything like that, so not a big deal. And yeah, there it is, guys. I think it looks absolutely stunning, especially out here in the sun. And that kind of gives you a color reference too with the grass in the background. So pretty close to that grass green, maybe a little bit darker, but yeah, it looks great, guys. Really sparkly too. I don't know if it's picking up on those indexes or not, but yeah, it looks great. Let's go back inside. Alright guys, and now so let's get on to quality control issues. Like I said, I think I covered them all. I just want to hit them again. Is the polishing just wasn't up to snuff. I ended up brushing the bracelet, so it doesn't matter too much, but not everyone's going to do that. Just general stiffness with this clasp, just not a great clasp. I did notice on a couple of these the ends of these links, they're not very nicely finished. Again, not a huge deal. Same with the bottom of it. You get some rough little machining spots here and there, but again, it doesn't really matter too much. So yeah, and then the crown, which again I think will get taken care of with the 2020 model. So that's pretty much it. Like, I didn't have any no dust under the dial or anything like that. No funky machining on the actual case. The case is super nice. Yeah, I think they did a super job on the case, and just an okay job on this bracelet. So yeah, there you have it. That's the Phylida Aqua Terra Homage. And if you are interested in purchasing this, I will leave a link down in the description. That is an affiliate link. It doesn't cost you any extra. It just helps grow the channel a little bit. And yeah, we're gonna, we'll have fun with it. Do some giveaways and stuff like that. So I can't wear all these watches. My wife would kill me. So if you guys like the video, please consider subscribing. That really helps as well. It lets me know that you guys are liking my content. I'm doing something right. If you like the video, leave a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them down below and I'll get to them. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.